I met Ozzy when I was around 18.
Oh, well, it's run its course.
Brace yourself. Just days ago, a grainy AI-generated clip was making the rounds, muttering that Ozzy Osbourne's heart was ticking down to its last beat. Most fans laughed it off as another bizarre rumor in a long history of bizarre rumors. Then, at dawn on the 22nd of July, 2025, reality kicked the door in. The Prince of Darkness had truly slipped away. Age 76, his family murmuring only that he'd been surrounded by love. The cause kept as shadow-draped as the man who once turned a live bat into legend. The whiplash from hoax to heartbreak hit the rock world like a stadium speaker at full blast, leaving everyone stunned, silent, and scrambling to understand how myth had morphed into truth overnight. Rewind a mere 17 days. Villa Park, Birmingham. 45,000 metalheads pressed shoulder to shoulder beneath flickering torches as dusk bled into night. A black throne rose through the stage floor. Seated upon it, wrapped in midnight velvet robes, Ozzy reigned over an all-star reunion, billed back to the beginning. Okay, his voice. Cracked, yet unbroken, thundered through war pigs. While Tony Iommi's detuned guitar carved thunder from thin air. Sparks rained, choirs wailed, and charitable donations poured in $190 million by final count. Okay. Every penny destined for Parkinson's research and children's hospitals. Eyewitnesses would later swear the stadium itself seemed to tremble when Ozzy roared the final generals gathered in their masses, then lifted his cane-like Excalibur to acknowledge the crowd. No one present could have imagined that this triumph would stand as the ultimate curtain call to grasp the full gravity of that moment. Tumble back even farther to the soot-scarred streets of Aston. Late 1950s, John Michael Osbourne, skinny, teenager with borrowed boots and a voice like a factory whistle, spent days sweeping metal shavings from machine floors and nights crooning Beatles covers into a cracked phone receiver. Penniless and desperate, he tried to steal a television. Set, landed in a grimy jail cell for 2 months, and emerged with one resolution. He'd never again let poverty cage him. His father scraped together coin to buy a battered PA system, betting on the boy's banshee howl. The gamble would change the sound of modern music. Destiny struck in 1969. Guitarist Tony Iommi, bassist Geezer Butler, and drummer Bill Ward fused blues, doom, and occult imagery into a new musical alloy. They needed a voice that could slice through molten riffs. Ozzy answered with an unearthly wail that startled neighborhood dogs and delighted teenage rebels. Black Sabbath was born, and on Friday the 13th of February 1970, their debut album exploded into record stores like a bad omen come to life. Critics recoiled, parents panicked. Youth everywhere found an anthem for the unease boiling beneath polite society. Stardom followed, then excess chased hard on its heels. Hotel room windows shattered under thrown televisions. Tour buses became rolling pharmacies stocked with rainbow-colored pills. Stories circulated of Ozzy shaving off his eyebrows just to bewilder roadies. Through it all, the music stayed diamond-tipped, but behind the scenes chaos swelled. By 1979, Sabbath exiled their own frontman, labeling him unmanageable. Convinced the unhinged frontman would fade into oblivion, instead, he detonated. Enter Sharon Arden, daughter of industry powerhouse Don Arden, who recognized that the madness could be molded. She dragged the broken singer into a Los Angeles studio, paired him with guitar prodigy Randy Rhoads, and coaxed forth Blizzard of Oz in 1980. Crazy Train barreled down airwaves, its manic laughter and locomotive riff announcing that Ozzy wasn't merely alive, he was unstoppable. Records flew off shelves. Arenas flooded with adrenaline. Yet victory turned to ash in 1982 when Rhoads died in a fiery plane crash during a tour stop in Florida. Ozzy locked himself in a hotel room for days, drowning grief in liquor and pills, flirting repeatedly with oblivion. But audiences demanded his return, and the show, impossibly, resumed. Controversy, once a dark cloud, became rocket fuel. He unleashed doves at a CBS board meeting, then bit one's head clean off in a burst of misguided showmanship. He wandered drunk near the Alamo, wearing one of Sharon's dresses, earning a decade-long ban from San Antonio. The infamous bat incident cemented him in pop culture infamy, a live bat hurled onto the stage. A split-second decision, jaws clamped, rabies shots followed. Parents threatened lawsuits. Teenagers bought more tickets. Chaos found a counterweight in Sharon, manager, partner, and eventual wife. She paced side stage with a clipboard while paramedics stood by with oxygen tanks. She negotiated record deals, wrangled creditors, and raised 3 children in tour buses rattling across continents. Decades later, MTV moved cameras into their mansion, and the Osbournes turned domestic pandemonium into reality TV phenomenon. Millions tuned in nightly to watch Ozzy shuffle across marble floors, muttering Sharon, while Yorkies yapped and teenage Kelly rolled her eyes. Ratings soared. Album sales followed. Danger kept stalking. In 2003, an ATV flipped on their Buckinghamshire estate, collapsing 8 ribs and puncturing a lung. Doctors induced a coma. Tabloids prepared memorial spreads. He clawed back, less than a year later, head full of metal plates and stories that would terrify lesser mortals, cracking jokes at an awards ceremony like nothing had happened. Then came Parkinson's, diagnosed quietly in 2003, publicly revealed. In 2019, the disease tightened screws on his muscles, slowed his stride, trembling his hands. Surgeries bolted vertebrae. Physical therapy became a daily crucible. He griped, joked, and cursed through the pain, but he refused pity. Asked whether he feared the end, he barked, "I'm not finished till I can't sing, and even then, I'll find a way to sing." The pandemic swept away tour plans, yet Ozzy challenged the virus itself by live streaming vocal takes from a home studio. Fans watched him belt chorus lines between stretches, oxygen tubes nearby just in case. When restrictions lifted, he plotted one final eruption. A Bermuda Triangle convergence of nostalgia, charity, and sheer spectacle back where it all began, Birmingham. And so, on the 5th of July 2025, the city that forged heavy metal welcomed its prodigal monarch. Villa Park's giant screens flickered archival footage, a teenage Ozzy clutching a cheap microphone. Classic Sabbath in tattered velvet. Solo success with spiked hair and demon makeup. Then the present-day throne rose, surrounded by an orchestra, children's choir, and guest shredders from Metallic, Foo Fighters, and Slipknot. He sang, seated, yet invincible. When he croaked the final syllable of Paranoid, fireworks blossomed into crimson skulls. Sharon stepped forward, eyes glistening, announcing the night's staggering charitable haul. The roar that followed echoed down Midland streets till sunrise. Truth felt stranger than fiction. Naturally, fiction tried to reclaim ground. 9 days after the concert, a deep-fake video surfaced online, depicting Ozzy gaunt, voice distorted, claiming he and Sharon planned an assisted exit in Switzerland. The clip spread across social media like invasive ivy. Kelly Osbourne detonated an expletive-laced rebuttal on Instagram, branding the video an AI fever dream and begging trolls to let her father live in peace. Yet algorithms gobbled the fake, shoving it into recommendation feeds worldwide. At dawn on the 22nd of July, headlines leaped from rumor to reality. Phones buzzed, car radios crackled, office Slack channels fell eerily quiet. The family's brief statement hit every news outlet at once. No cause, no venue, no spectacle, just the finality of an end too immense to comprehend. 11 fleeting days separated the triumphant farewell from the unthinkable conclusion. Rebutes erupted.
Birmingham cathedrals.
Bells tolled the descending riff of Iron Man. In Tokyo, Shibuya Crossing paused while giant LED screens looped historic Sabbath footage. Coldplay bathed a Nashville stage in violet light, dedicating Fix You. Metallic posted a single monochrome photo. Ozzy, mid-scream, arms outstretched, captioned Only Eternal. Streaming platforms reported Paranoid topping charts in 23 countries simultaneously. Even the Vatican's social feed offered a rare acknowledgement, praising voices that cried out from darkness to reveal hidden light. Yet beyond theatrics lay a quieter ledger. The philanthropy. Ozzy's private donations kept rehab clinics afloat. He personally funded surgeries for sick children he'd never met. He pressured promoters to host blood donation drives at metal festivals, trading backstage passes for pints. He was once asked why he bothered with good deeds given his Hellraiser image. He shrugged, "If my mess of a life can clean up someone else's, that's worth more than platinum records." Science, too, tried decoding his durability. In 2010, geneticists sequenced his DNA, uncovering rare mutations that accelerated how his body metabolized alcohol and narcotics, partially explaining how he survived decades of near-lethal overindulgence. The researchers dubbed him a biological outlier. Fans had long suspected supernatural forces anyway. A week after his passing, a private funeral unfolded at Highgate Cemetery, London. Under leaden skies, a small choir sang changes in whispered harmony while Sharon, Kelly, Jack, and the grandkids placed black roses atop an ebony urn inlaid with tiny silver bats. Tony Iommi slid a vintage harmonica inside the vault, the same one that breathed the haunting intro to The Wizard. When the final hymn faded, mourners heard distant thunder. Whether it was weather or the universe riffing one last power chord, no one could tell. In the wake, fans built spontaneous shrines, candles flickering on suburban porches in Ohio, handmade crosses rising in Brazilian parking lots, vinyl sleeves propped against city statues from Sydney to Stockholm, online forums filled with Midnight Stories' first concerts, rehab inspiration, tattoos completed in shaky homage. A paramedic recalled how Ozzy once insisted their entire crew get flu shots before tour kickoff. Hey Soldier wrote about receiving a backstage hug that lasted just long enough to feel real. And the music? It roars louder now, echoing through earbuds, stadiums, and the battered speakers of cars racing down late-night highways. Play Mr. Crowley and feel Randy Rhoads' fretwork spiral into cathedral organ drama. Crank No More Tears. And let that bass line rumble your ribcage. Dial up, mama. I'm coming home at 3 a.m. and discover it still squeezes a tear from the hardest cynic. Here's the enduring takeaway. Legends don't move in straight lines. They zagged through scandal, redemption, terror, tenderness, and back again until truth and tall tale blur into a single electric current. Ozzy's journey from factory kid to global icon reminds us that raw passion can warp reality, bending it, breaking it, forging new futures. He turned chaos into art, pain into purpose, devilish imagery into charitable miracles. Quote, he survived what should have killed him, laughed when fear closed in, sang when breath itself threatened mutiny. If tomorrow morning another headline claims he's recording vocals from beyond, ask yourself whether that would truly stretch believability further than anything he already accomplished on Earth. After all, stories this outrageous seldom end. They fade into feedback, howl through amplifiers nobody has switched off, and linger in the ringing silence after the final, sustained power chord. So pull the curtains, crank the volume, and let the distortion wash over you. Somewhere in that wall of sound, a raspy laugh still echoes, daring darkness to try to hold earth-shaking voices down. And if you listen closely enough, you might catch a whispered promise drifting on the feedback. I'm not done yet.